They told you it was chemistry, that electric spark, the butterflies in your stomach, the way your pulse quickens and your thoughts spiral into endless replays of their laugh, their touch, their gaze. Society romanticizes it. It's destiny, they say. It's passion igniting your soul. But Carl Jung, the master of the human psyche, would lean in close, his voice steady and unflinching, and whisper a truth that shatters illusions. No, my friend. It's not chemistry. It's not fate. It's your shadow calling from the depths. Picture this, you're at a crowded party, eyes locking across the room with someone who feels inexplicably magnetic. Your body responds before your mind catches up, heart pounding, palms sweating, a rush of desire that borders on obsession. You've been taught to chase that feeling, to label it as love at first sight or unbreakable attraction. But Jung, he'd call it a psychological ambush. Sexual attraction, in his view, isn't some whimsical game of compatibility or hormones run amok. It's a detonation in your unconscious mind, a mirror held up to the parts of yourself you've buried, ignored, or never dared to face. And more often than not, that pull isn't drawing you toward healing, it's luring you straight into your unresolved wounds. At the heart of Jung's theory lies the concept of the anima and animus, the inner feminine archetype in men and the inner masculine in women. These aren't just poetic notions. They're primal, emotionally turbocharged forces shaped by everything we've suppressed in our quest to fit into society's mold. For a man, the anima might embody the tenderness he was never allowed to express, the vulnerability he learned to hide behind stoicism. For a woman, the animus could represent the assertiveness she was told to soften, the ambition she dimmed to avoid being labeled too much. These archetypes live in the shadows of our psyche, whispering unmet needs and unclaimed potentials. Now here's where it gets profoundly unsettling. When you encounter someone who embodies your anima or animus, your unconscious erupts like a volcano. It's not them you're falling for. It's the illusion of wholeness they project. You see in them the missing pieces of your soul and suddenly you're hooked. This is projection at its most intoxicating. You don't love the person. You love the fantasy they've unwittingly become, a stand-in for the self you've never integrated. That's why the attraction feels so irrational, so all-consuming. You might intellectually know they're wrong for you. Perhaps they're emotionally distant, manipulative, or outright toxic. But the magnetic force overrides logic. It's like an addiction, where every rejection only intensifies the craving, pulling you deeper into a cycle of pain disguised as passion. Flip the lens to women, and the pattern emerges just as starkly. Many find themselves repeatedly entangled with emotionally unavailable men, charismatic alphas who exude confidence but withhold intimacy like a guarded secret. Why am I only attracted to the ones who hurt me? They wonder as the cycle repeats. It's not masochism. It's the animus at work. If her father was distant, prioritizing work over warmth, her unconscious seeks out men who echo that detachment, hoping this time to crack the code and earn the unwavering love she craved. The attraction spikes with every indifference, every breadcrumb of attention, because it feels familiar, like home, but a home built on pain. And if that man senses her vulnerability, he might exploit it, stringing her along with just enough charm to keep the hook set. It's not romance. It's a psychological power play, where both parties are ensnared by their shadows. But let's delve deeper into the weaponization of this truth. In an era of empowerment seminars and seduction guides, some women harness this dynamic not out of malice but survival. They've learned that true power lies not in overt control, but in becoming the anima incarnate, the fantasy that disarms a man at his core. By offering intense physical allure while rationing emotional access, they create an unbreakable bond. He becomes obsessed, worshipful because she represents his unclaimed self. Yet for her, it's often rooted in her own wounds. Perhaps she never experienced safe, reciprocal love, so she seeks dominance through desire. When he demands genuine intimacy, the facade cracks, and she flees, not because she's heartless, but because vulnerability threatens the control she's built as armor. In this dance, neither is truly seen. They're both performers in a tragic play, using sex and attraction to medicate deeper pains. This isn't to vilify desire, far from it. Jung didn't expose these shadows to breed cynicism, but to foster awareness. The darkest truth is that we're not always drawn to what's good for us. We're magnetized to what completes our internal narrative, even if that narrative is laced with tragedy. You attract not what you consciously want, but what your unhealed wounds demand. It's karma in psychological terms, repetition until revelation. The unconscious rules your choices until you drag it into the light. Consider a real-life tale to illustrate, drawn from the countless stories Jung's followers have shared. There was a brilliant executive, outwardly the epitome of success, confident, articulate, surrounded by admirers. Yet his romantic life was a revolving door of devastation. Woman after woman, each more alluring than the last, would draw him in with fiery passion, only to shatter him with rejection. One cheated blatantly, another vanished after professing eternal love, a third belittled his emotions in moments of openness. He knew the pattern, even joked about it with friends. I have a type, toxic. But breaking free? Impossible. Why? His shadow held the key. Orphaned young and raised by a stern aunt who equated love with achievement, he unconsciously sought women who mirrored that conditional affection. Each romance was a subconscious attempt to prove his worth, to finally earn the unyielding love he'd lost. Sexual attraction wasn't a bridge to connection. It was a chain binding him to his past. Women face parallel pitfalls. Think of the artist, vibrant and independent, who swears off bad boys after every heartbreak only to fall headlong into another. These men are thrilling, adventurous, dominant, with an edge that makes her feel alive. But beneath the excitement lurks cruelty, emotional unavailability that leaves her questioning her value. Her animus, shaped by a father who praised independence but never offered emotional safety, drives her toward these echoes. The pull is visceral, sexual energy intertwined with the hope of resolution, yet each cycle deepens the wound, until she realizes it's not him she's craving. It's the closure her younger self never received. The horror intensifies when we acknowledge how trauma manipulates attraction. Unresolved pain doesn't just influence choices, it amplifies them. The more a person embodies your wound, the fiercer the desire. That spark you feel? It might be your nervous system recognizing a familiar threat, mistaking adrenaline for affection. Toxic bonds endure not despite the pain, but because of it. Addiction to the highs and lows that mimic childhood chaos. So how do we escape this labyrinth? Jung's answer: individuation, the heroic journey of integrating your shadow, anima and animus into conscious awareness. It's not about suppressing desire, but interrogating it. Next time that magnetic pull hits, pause and probe. What does this person stir in me? Do they evoke safety or scarcity? Am I drawn from a place of fullness or famine? Journal it, therapy it, meditate on it. Unearth the stories your unconscious tells through attraction. True healing transforms everything. When you've faced your shadows, attraction shifts from compulsion to choice. You'll no longer chase storms for excitement. You'll seek harbors of peace. That boring partner who offers steady presence? They're not dull, they're revolutionary. Because they reflect your integrated self, not your fractures. Love becomes calm waters, not raging rapids. Your heart won't race in anxiety. It'll beat in rhythm with trust. Jung's wisdom isn't a warning to flee love. It's an invitation to claim it authentically. Desire can be sacred, a portal to profound connection, but only when freed from projection's chains. So before you surrender to the next infatuation, turn inward, heal the screaming parts of your soul, then love not as a beggar seeking scraps, but as a whole being sharing abundance. If this exploration has unraveled your understanding of past relationships, if it sparked that uncomfortable aha moment, smash the like button to amplify this message. Drop a comment with your deepest insight. What wound have you chased in disguise as love? If you've shattered the cycle, share your breakthrough. Your story could ignite someone else's revolution. We're not just creating content. We're forging paths to self-mastery. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with a friend trapped in their own shadow dance. Remember, you don't attract what you desire, you attract what you haven't healed. Make healing your greatest power and watch your world transform.